All right, guys, we are going off on a Spurs season review today. Obviously, Patty Mills, part of the San Antonio Spurs. Strange season.
Yeah, weird season for the Spurs.
Just weird season. And we just keep saying this about teams. Just, very weird. Just they're kind of dead in the water. Then they went on a rampage and then they died again. And the worst playoff exit I have seen in modern history.
We'll have to talk about that later on in the piece.
But strange season, obviously, with Pop at the helm. I didn't write them in. Adding DeMar DeRozan this year, having no Kawhi Leonard last year.
What do you mean write them in?
I didn't write them into the top 8.
Oh, yeah.
That's
right,
I didn't have them coming in.
It's the Spurs, man. They're always there or thereabouts. I think I was looking forward to at the start of the season, DeMar DeRozan. I think I said this during the season where, I want to see how this works. This would be really interesting. And then about a quarter or maybe just under halfway through the season, I was like, yeah, I've seen enough of this, man. It's the same. It's, DeRozan drives in and then shoots a long two. It is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it became very kind of stale and then alternating between LaMarcus and...
It was kind of just mid-range and then hopefully someone shot a 3 10 times a game. They were the lowest 3-shooting team in the comp.
Yeah, I think they were. They shot the least amount of threes, but I think they were the highest percentage.
Which, I mean, makes sense.
Analytics, yeah.
Makes sense from an analytical perspective. You want to be pretty good. But again, all their stats were very much in the mid-range, mid to lower range.
Felt like Davis Bertans, every time you turned a game on and he had the ball, he was shooting a 3 and making it.
But he probably only shot 1.6 per game or something like that.
Yeah, and then he struggled in the playoffs.
He did. Well, I mean, Denver's a weird team. And they're taking Portland to Game 7. It's just...
Game 7.
If Jokic doesn't just keel over by the end of this playoffs...
Did you see him lumber down the court and then lay the ball in? That was just like... He took the ball coast to coast, basically, and...
Oh, that was the brain fake,
yeah. And then, he went up for this weird layup, contorted layup. Everything just looks so slow, in slow motion. But yeah, the Spurs during the season, 18th in points per game, 12th in opposition points per game, 110. I would have thought they would have been a little bit better defensively, like LaMarcus Aldridge another year.
DeRozan is bad.
DeRozan is DeRozan, man.
Defensively.
I think you replace Kawhi Leonard with DeRozan and your defense is going to go down because... Yes. Naturally, he's not Kawhi Leonard defensively. Their pace, they were 22nd in pace, 98 rating. Their offensive rating, 7th, not too bad. Right, pretty up there as a playoff team.
We had a Spursian quote. Is that some games, the Spurs have scored 70 points. Oh, wait, hold on. They've just put 140 on the board with no rhyme or reason against anyone at any time.
Yeah, some games they were just, they were held to 85, and then some games you were just like, whoa, the Spurs have put up 120. And it'd be, wow, like I just checked the calendar. They haven't done this in like a month. Like, what the hell, And they'll be like, yeah, we shut it down. We'll bring it back in a month, You know what I mean? It was just weird. But a lot of that was DeRozan, really. And LaMarcus Aldridge, like you take two kind of streaky good players.
Yeah, they're not consistent good. They're streaky good.
And not systematically... aligned scorers. They're very low percentage scorers. Like LaMarcus Aldridge taking tough fades, 20-foot elbow type shots, 17 feet elbow shots, like stuff that's not super conventional offense.
Yeah.
DeRozan just loved getting to that left hand, like kind of like Lou Williams, that lefty sort of stop and fade and turn and shoot. So inefficient. It just felt so inefficient. Like,
I mean, it's high percentage for them, but inefficient in the NBA as a whole.
And if you're a team who can kind of maximize that aspect of your team, like, okay, it works.
Yeah.
But it takes so much, really, it's not efficient. It takes so much to make that happen.
And I suppose this is where the low shooting 3 percentage or the low shooting 3 volume doesn't really work because you got two guys that operate predominantly inside the arc and in the paint. You really have to stack your outside with shooters. Because who else is going to operate?
The problem is those two guys are scorers. So you've got two scorers from inside the arc. They're not creators. They're shot creators. They're not creators for the rest of that team. Yes. And that's kind of reflected in their stats of why they didn't shoot that many threes. You know, they went down when they did, but you're limiting yourself in the new NBA. You're limiting yourself to you can't go on runs of 10, 15, 20 to break a game open.
Yeah.
And it felt like the Spurs never really had that in them this season. Like, the Spurs just need to put on a 15-point run and they've broken this game open and that's it. Like, it always felt like all of the games were close. You know, they were playing down to their opponent when the opponent was playing poorly. And I think it's really DeRozan. Again, like I said, it started out like, I want to see how this works. And then seen enough of this, man. Like, it's the same thing over and over. Him getting to this spot and trying to take a shot and him shooting like maybe 45%. And then LaMarcus, you toss LaMarcus in there. Like, LaMarcus is
a bit of post LaMarcus.
2 or 3 games, you watch it and you go, superb stuff. And then after 5 games, you're just like, I can't watch this guy shoot, 16-foot contested jumpers the entire time. It's just rough. You know, it needed more batons. You know, Patty Mills, we haven't spoken about him. He had what was a pretty good season, veteran season.
I think, for the minutes he played and for the impact that he had and the size that he is in the modern NBA, he's had a good season.
And defensively looked pretty good this season.
Yeah.
Still quite fit, still harassing players. Got a little bit exploited, I think, in the playoffs by Denver's young, larger lineup in terms of their guards. That's the problem.
I mean, 6 years ago, a 6'1" shooting / point guard was a completely acceptable piece. You know, you could switch on to a 6'2" shooting guard or a 6'3" point guard, and that wouldn't be too much of a contest. What's Jamal Murray, 6'6", 6'5"?
6'5" or 6'4" or 6'5". And they've got other guys like Torrey Craig,
6'5". They're just
Barton.
It's just getting bigger,
Gary Harris,
and bigger and bigger.
Guys are getting taller and thicker.
Yeah.
And that's where Paddy, at 6'1", and I don't think he really does have the savvy to create his own shot. And then obviously you lump LaMarcus and DeRozan and don't shoot threes, and on top of that, you're kind of like, it's Patty Mills. Like, fuck, he shoots threes. Like, that's his thing. If you're taking that away from him, it's really just, I'm trying to play defense and facilitate. And he played pretty much a bench role. DeJounte Murray went down early, I think, season.
Yes.
Very early on in the season. They kind of went all in on him. Bryn Forbes emerged as a really good 3-point shooter and a good piece. And then Derek White as well.
In the back end.
And it speaks to Patty. Like, Patty's a veteran. Patty came off the bench. Still played like nearly 30 minutes a game. Like, and you're like, he was coming off the bench. What's up with that? That's kind of weird. And was happy to do that. Like, it really speaks to his personality.
Yeah, he's not the I'm me. It will be very interesting to see him in an Aussie setup with if Ben Simmons runs the point. Perfect.
As a shooting guard,
perfect.
Run a little pick and pops with Ben Simmons as the ball handler would be pretty interesting.
Quick, fast team, because Patty's quick.
And he can get to the rim too.
Yeah.
It's just finishing over NBA guys is different to finishing over FIBA type guys, which is where I think it'll be interesting to see him in that World Cup. I definitely think he's still got a place in that World Cup squad.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't go there without him. Obviously, they lost in the Western Conference. They took it to 7 games, lost by 4 at the end, with the strangest last minute of play, I think.
Well, let's talk about that playoff series. Like, it started out so good. Like, they won that first game and just like, and then gloating, like, Denver's not going to make it out. We told you.
I put it in there. I said, Denver is trash.
Yeah. I don't know how they did it. And then Jamal Murray kind of blew that first game a little bit.
Yes, he did.
And then in the second game, came up trumps, and you're like, oh yeah, Jamal Murray, he blows one, comes up trumps, fair enough. And then in San Antonio, I think they won the third game. Derek White had that crazy game, and then in the fourth game, Jamal Murray comes up trumps again, and you're like, all right, okay, if we're going to do this, series was tied. And then it kind of went back and forth again, and the Spurs looked really good in that game 6 where they've kind of unlocked something here. Jokic is looking to be gassed. Jokic, yeah. And then, that final minute of that last game. Like,
They just let the clock run down.
yeah, that was weird,
No
wasn't
one
it?
fouled. No one wanted to
fouled
extend the game.
It looked like Greg Popovich was like, go up and foul the guy, go up, and they just didn't.
It's like, no, we've had enough, buddy. We're tired.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to bow out the first round if we want to.
Yeah, DeRozan was very DeRozan-y. Like, it really was Toronto DeRozan. Like, it really kind of cemented in, this is who this guy is. Really.
Yeah,
like,
he's not a postseason player,
And-
from my mind. LaMarcus Aldridge is.
Yeah, but he's still, like, the NBA's moving away from his game as well. But DeRozan just really, like, this isn't going to work. Like, it really felt like that. I kind of thought DeRozan has a chance to really change the trajectory of his career away from being that playoff bottler type guy.
Yeah.
And then it just turned out that he's the same guy, and you were just like, oh yeah.
And then, you're thinking of maybe
him.
in a Pop system, Pop would bring something out of him.
But it never really happened. It just, you kind of disappeared down the end of that series.
But I think that's what the 3-ball does. Like the inability to shoot the 3 in a team like Denver. They're pretty good perimeter defenders, Denver.
Yeah, they've
I'll
got
give
some
them
big
that.
guys, big guards.
Big guards, quick,
Young. And
young, don't give a fuck. They really don't care. Happy to play 7 games. I don't think... Well, this is what Denver's going to 7 against. You can't win a championship playing 7-game series. It just doesn't happen. You got to wash someone in there to have a bit of time off. For my mind, anyway.
Yeah.
But we can go to the season in review. Fairly lackluster start. They were 500 after 20 games and then went on a 13 wins in their next 20.
yeah, it was a good little period that really kind of righted their season.
Yeah.
You know, it was the kind of time when Memphis fell as well, and I think Houston had a bit of a slow start, and OKC had a little bit of a slow start before going on a crazy run as well.
Dallas were kind of up there as well to begin with, and then they just died.
Well, they were winning heaps of games at home and then just couldn't win on the road at all. I think the Spurs had a crazy away record at the start of the season as well.
Yes.
They were winning games away, and you were like, what is this? It's kind of weird. They were 8th at the All-Star break and kind of looking like they were struggling, really.
Yeah, you thought that potentially LeBron James, might bring it back, and we didn't know how big his injury was, and the Kings were kind of still in it, and then it just kind of, they blew out and were getting some good wins, and they were able to push it up to 6.
The Kings just disappeared, they really did. And then the Clippers opened up like a 4 or 5 game buffer, and then the Spurs went on that crazy 9 game. I think they won 9 in a row, sort of the back end of the season, to cement them in the spot, and they still only kind of finished 7th. I think they had got to 6th, yet they still only finished 7th. Like,
I think there was 4 wins between 8th and 3rd, I think.
It just showed you how much the West was just such a bloodbath this year.
Some terrible teams as well. Phoenix were absolute trash.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the disappointing playoffs against Denver.
Yeah, we kind of did already, though, didn't we? I noted here brain explosion 3 times at the end of that game.
That was
It was kind of weird.
Oh.
Patty's 3-ball kind of disappeared in this. And again,
In the postseason?
there's bigger guards, yeah.
But bigger guards, but again, guys not facilitating the shot. You got to run plays for a 3 or for a 6'1" guard, and Philly does it better than anyone with JJ Redick.
Yep.
You got to run plays. You got to run big center curls. And I think what they are missing is that 7-footer.
Yeah, Jakob Poeltl. What about Jakob Poeltl?
Yeah, not really playable.
That's what I mean. Like LaMarcus 6'11", it's kind of
He's
arcane,
like he's a power forward. He doesn't really play it.
but it's really archaic offense, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if he could leak out and shoot 35% from 3, and then you're running pick and pop on the perimeter, you're opening up the
Opening up
mid-range.
lanes.
But Pop just wanted him down low the entire time, and DeRozan kind of would fit if you didn't have a guy like LaMarcus there. If you were just spreading the floor with LaMarcus, maybe standing him in the corner and bringing him up to above the break a little bit more, maybe that. But who am I to go, Greg? Like, what are you doing, Pop? Come on, mate. Like, but if that's what he wants to do, like he's one of the best coaches in the game. Like that's just what he's going to do.
It's something crazy.
But he's also old and
we just signed for another 3 years.
Yeah, and good on him. But he's old and stubborn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it felt like that, man.
This is how I won championships. How dare you say anything?
Like, it really felt like, I'm not going to change any of this. I'm like, bro, it's DeRozan. Like, surely just, recognize that DeRozan is still DeRozan. And LaMarcus kind of low percentage offense in the playoffs.
Yeah, especially lockdown defense. If you're kind of playing loose defense, they're all very high percentage. But once you start playing really lockdown, pestering defense, you're not going to get the same out of them. They have to start running more plays.
Well,
for perimeter players. Even if that just opens up the lanes for DeRozan. And
that's what I mean. Like, you can't have LaMarcus there without, and then go, okay, I want DeRozan to score in the mid-range. It kind of gets in the way. It's just, and then you kind of got White dribble drive. They don't really have, like, Rudy Gay's kind of a, between 2 and 10 feet scorer as well. Like, if you had 4 slashers plus LaMarcus and DeRozan, yeah, right, that might work. And then maybe 2 perimeter shooters. But they don't really have that either. No. Like, really going beyond that lineup past their starters, Bellinelli.
And we didn't, Bellinelli was that kind of, but he's another guy you got to dial up plays for. He's got to come off the curl.
And he's a streaky good shooter too. Yeah. It's not like, he's just shooting them going even further, like Cunningham. Bertans didn't get many opportunities in the finals.
We didn't see Lonnie Walker at all this year, did we?
He did play a few games.
No, but not really of any consequence.
Nah, but I think he got injured at the start of the season. Chimiza Metu as well. Pondexter, and Cunningham. Like, you're looking down that roster just going, oof, it's kind of the dregs of the NBA again.
The bong water of the NBA.
Monty Eunice is on that team. I didn't know that. Wow. But yeah, that playoffs was just kind of who they were during the season, man. I think felt old. Really did.
It felt old last year. It felt not like an old team last year. What's Rudy Gay? 33? 32?
Let me look that up real quick. He is 86, 32.
32.
He's younger than me. It's not the right roster. Like, LaMarcus versus Jokic. Did you feel like Jokic really monstered him, man? He just totally monstered LaMarcus. Not really, but kind of did. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of played a lot better than LaMarcus, but you weren't sitting there just going, well, LaMarcus is just getting absolutely destroyed by Jokic.
Well, because Jokic is a facilitator.
That's the other thing, where LaMarcus is not really much of a facilitator, kind of post-scorer.
Like, yeah, all right, this is a low percentage shot. I'm going to facilitate something here. Jokic is a very smart player.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He used his smarts to get around that, and he might not be the most physical guy, and LaMarcus really isn't a big physical guy either, and LaMarcus does have a lot of smarts in the post, but it just shows you that's kind of low percentage shit. Like, really, if it's not on, it's debilitating. Like, and DeRozan's the same. Like, if that stuff's not going, it's so debilitating for your spacing, for your offense.
That's the 85-point games.
Yeah, that's where it kind of came from. That's where it stemmed from.
But we should get on to Paddy's regular season numbers here. It had just under 10 points per game, 3 assists, 42.5% from the field, almost 40% from 3, which is fantastic. Really embraced that bench role, playing 30 minutes. Best game was 22-3 against the Grizz, 15-7-8 against the Pels. Almost had a triple-double. Low volume of threes, very high efficiency.
Yeah, so their three-point shooters, Davis Bertans was 42.9% on 4.4 shots a game. Forbes on 5 shots a game was 42.6. That's not too bad. And then Rudy Gay on 2.7 shots a game was 40%. So a little bit more volume. And they might have, they've dialed up some more plays. And then Paddy obviously was next. And he only took 4.9 a game. So if they were shooting seven a game, it might be a different story. They might have been able to score a little bit better. But you never know. They might have just been bricking shots. And, it's a real volatile thing if you're not setting up your offense for outside shooting. Yeah.
Well, this is really where the playoffs comes into perspective for Paddy. 21 minutes per game, 5.5 points, 3.6 assists, only 32.6 from the field, 13% from 3, which is utterly abysmal.
Yeah,
but that's the oversized guard.
I think so, yeah.
And the ability of terrible screen setters.
Kind of, yeah.
They're just not there to set screens. He's a fantastic shooter off the curl. And you really have to dial up plays for Paddy.
I think he did have a couple of threes in one of the games, maybe the Derek White game at the end of that game, or maybe the end of the Spurs, like game 6 or whatever at home, where you went, oh, like Paddy's hitting shots, like that's good to see.
Yeah.
It kind of just disappeared again, and
it's the dial-up play effect.
I think it is. And then if you look at here, 2 points attempted, 2-point field goals attempted, 16.5 for DeRozan, 2 points, two pointers attempted per game, 49.2%, and then LaMarcus 15.8, 2 pointers attempted per game, 52.8%. It's just bad offense, man. It's low percentage type shit, and it's crippling. It really is.
Yeah. Well, that's where the modern NBA is you dial up the 3-pointers, and that's how you just overwhelm their offense.
Because Brim Forbes, like, it felt like during the season, every time he shot a 3, it was going down.
Yeah.
Same with
Jakob Poeltl.
Jakob Poeltl shot 3.
No, sorry, David Bertans.
Davis
Bertans,
the Terminator. Yeah, it really did. And then how many times were you like, give him the ball, get him the ball, and then it wouldn't go to him, and he's just like, Spurs, what are you doing to us?
LaMarcus in the post.
It's nice to watch, man. Like sometimes I'm like, I can take, it's like the icing on the cake. You can't just have icing for dinner every night.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is nice to watch. It's really, sometimes when he's on, he's fluid, and you're just like, fuck, how are you knocking down these shots? And it's really like crushing offense where you're just like, oh, how are you hitting these shots? Like crippling the opposition. But then when it's not on, it's like, oof, rough.
Spurs and Paddy going forward, he's got another 2 years. 12 million next year, 13.2 the year after.
Yeah.
Unrestricted free agent 2021. I think he'll be 34.
I think he'll leave when he's 34, to be honest. Probably maybe come back to the NBL or something like that.
I'd love to see him play for like Illawarra or somewhere like that. I think it'd be fantastic.
Maybe the Kings. Maybe not Illawarra. Maybe someone who's at the top of the league.
No, I think he'll come back and do his duty more than the payment kind of thing. I think he's made enough money in America, but you never know. He might get a vet min somewhere for another year as a good kind of glue guy, bench guy, or even at the Spurs. You never know.
I feel like he's a guy that's going to come back home, but I really do.
I really do as well. And
because he's well loved by that Spurs organization, and he's well loved by Popovich. It doesn't feel like he's a mercenary type guy who's just like, I want to play basketball. It's great. Like, it feels like the connection he has to the Spurs organization is more than, I just want to play. How good is it going to be that if I just get a contract with another team? Like, some players where you're like, that guy's going to leave the organization and just be like, where's my next contract? I want to go here. I want to go
Zaza
there.
Pachulia.
Zaza, yeah. But for him, I feel like it's going to be it. And when he hits unrestricted free agency, he's going to be like, and you know what, I'm going to come home, maybe just predicting out of my ass. But, that team, Murray, obviously, DeJounte Murray is going to come back. White as well. How'd you feel about Derek White? Just feel like Jamal Murray. Oh, he's on. Sweet. Oh, he's not on. Shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Very hot and cold. But young.
Yeah.
I think can get better.
I think Forbes is going to be a good player, though, man. In that Spurs system, too, for the next couple of years.
Definitely.
They've just got to shoot more threes, man.
That's pretty much what it is, but I don't think they will. It's like the Rick Carlisle system. Old school.
Fucking Rick Carlisle. It's blown my love for that franchise as well. Dallas, Rowdy Ryan Brokoff. We've already wrapped up Rowdy Ryan Brokoff.
We have
season
indeed.
2. What a disappointment that was, man. Just not getting minutes.
Not getting minutes in a trash team.
And then when they've got no players because they traded 18,000 guys, he gets minutes, plays really well, and it's just like, oh, we brought in some more guys. We're going to go with those guys now. And you're just like, fuck, man, what are you doing to us?
Fucking Rick Carlisle.
Right. Nah, it's all right. Rick Carlisle's all right.
Nah, shit.
You won that good championship with Dirk. Recommended go and watch that YouTube of the highlights of his season when he won that title with Dallas against the Heat. He was fantastic in that series. But yeah, Spurs, I think that about wraps it up. Bit of a, lead balloon in their off-season I guess Spurs are going to Spurs again. They'll rise and they'll probably end up finishing in the playoffs and going out in the first round.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, they're just that team that gets there.
Well, they used to be like...
It's not even like the team that fights to get there. It's just like they're really like, for me, like Detroit and the Magic fought really hard to get to the playoffs. So the win was getting to the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Spurs just feels like they're just there to exit first round. They're not fighting to get to the playoffs. It's not like, yes, they got to the playoffs.
How weird was that, though? Like, the Detroit Pistons, there was like 4 teams that were all just fucking, no, you haven't, no, you haven't, no, you haven't, no, you haven't. Then by the time you get to the actual playoffs, it's like, yeah, but you don't really deserve to be here.
No.
You know what I mean?
The win in that franchise is they get to the playoffs.
Yeah, and just to get like 4-0 banged by the Bucks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and Giannis, who looks like, he might steamroll his way to the finals, depending on who comes out of the East to play them. What else have we got coming up?
Continual playoff review.
Bainesy obviously going out a couple of days ago.
Indeed.
Bit disappointing, man. Celtics, oof, just rough.
Uncle Doodoo.
2.0.
shots for 101 points.
Yeah. After didn't he make some comment in the second game?
It's like, yeah, I'll never be that bad again.
And then he was worse, like
continually.
Worse. Yeah.
I think he just checked out.
That team feels like they don't like him, eh? It's weird.
Yeah, they don't like him. He's a weird dude, apparently, as well. Apparently
really deep and really like...
It's like wants to get into his zone.
Profound thinker. Just a weirdo, man.
Yeah. Just play basketball, you twat. All right, guys.
All right, yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
All right, take it easy, peeps.
See ya.